Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Mental Health. You may notice a difference. I've shaved since the last few videos. Decided to disagree with my genetic profile to grow facial hair and shaved it all off. Seems a bit weird though at the moment. But anyway, we'll get into the topic for today, which is social anxiety. And this is something that I struggled with a lot growing up and not so much now, although I still kind of experience the same sort of feelings that are associated with social anxiety. So, what social anxiety is a, a strand of anxiety that is generated through social circumstances. And I very strongly believe that everybody gets it to a certain extent on a different scale. So, you're going to a meeting with a friend, you've got nerves, you've got sweaty hands, or not even a friend. More seriously, you're going for a meeting with a boss, or you're going for an interview, and you have those nerves that are based to a specific circumstance. And understandably, there's a lot of factors, but imagine that feeling in every situation that involves people and any sort of interaction, and that's where social anxiety sort of can get diagnosed or applied. Because for a lot of people, anxiety in social circumstances is only generally specific to more sort of intense and, oh, I'm really nervous for my interview tomorrow. That's a more relatable, common form of social anxiety. But when people are struggling with social anxiety, it generally applies to every time they have some sort of social interaction. So I initially found that I never had social anxiety growing up, but when I was 11 years old, I missed 2 years of school. And when I was getting reintroduced into education, I'd gone from 2 years of my day to day circumstances being I only see my family or doctors, and all my interaction was with people online on World of Warcraft. So when I was taken from that circumstance that I was in a day to day and then put back into public school where I was surrounded by hundreds of people, and there was specific attention drawn towards me because I'd been gone for 2 years and then just suddenly reappeared. That gave me really bad social anxiety in the sense where I didn't want to go to school. The idea of going to school the next day while I was laid in bed was making my hands all sweaty. I was getting panic attacks while not really understanding what they were because I was like 13 at the time. And like my mum and dad just told me to keep getting on with it, keep going in. And I still felt like this. I couldn't talk to anyone. I was really pale. I would feel physically sick, and my brain just wouldn't function when I was in a social circumstance. And a lot of panic attacks came with that. It reached its peak when I had to do a presentation in a geography class where I had to go to the front of the class, and there was like 30 people onlooking, and the paper was shaking in my hands, and I couldn't look forwards, and I was just tripping over my words, and my confidence just went rock bottom. And then after the class, people were making fun of the way I was breathing. So following that, I refused to go to school and sort of reached a deep depression because I just kind of felt that I couldn't be around people anymore. And this is a permanent, unchangeable circumstance of my life. And it was like that for a few years until I started to become more comfortable in smaller groups of people. One to one, I might find that there might be a group of people and I can interact with like people on a one-to-one basis, but when it's a group, I kind of feel like I can't be myself. And then I started to find myself going and trying to do presentations in class because I wondered if it was ever going to change, if it was ever going to get better, and do I ever want to be the kind of person that can do presentations and stand up in front of groups of people. And I, for a time, thought, yeah, I'm completely comfortable with that. But then I've started thinking about my wedding day, and in the future I would love to have a really nice wedding, and my social anxiety would stop me from being able to stand at the front of the church and say my vows confidently, or speak from my heart, or say what I really want to say, because I'd be too afraid to do it. And the thought of that really made me sort of angry and distasteful that was a part of myself and that I was limited in that sort of way. So once I felt this sort of dislike with a certain trait that I had developed of anxiety through a number of social circumstances, I realized that for me, the thing that I could do was action. And unfortunately, the best way for me was to throw myself in these circumstances that make me really uncomfortable. So any opportunity where I was in a group project in class, even though I was really nervous, I would always opt to be the person that presents. Found that my voice was really shaky, but then I also noticed that when other people do presentations in classrooms and stuff, generally people don't pay attention. It's just the teacher that pays attention in those circumstances. So once I kind of thought about that, I just tried to focus entirely on the teacher and not the students that I was presenting to. And I found that method sort of relaxed me in a sense, where I just look at the teacher because they're the one who's grading it. The students don't really care. So really I'm just presenting to one person while there may be like 30 people in the room. So I found that strategy helped me present, and that continued that sort of mindset of any opportunity to make myself uncomfortable, I'll eventually become more comfortable doing it. And I found that definitely worked with me with public speaking. And in social circumstances, I found that I was always more comfortable when I had a mate that wasn't afraid to put themselves out there and just kind of be the big personality in the group. But I reached a time in my life where there wasn't anyone like that, and I remember thinking, like, I wish somebody would put themselves out there. I wish somebody would do this to make me feel at ease. And once I kind of realized that there's nothing that separates that person from me, only my limitations through anxiety that exist in my brain. And while the feeling is so overwhelming, having anxiety, it is, you are given a choice. Even if 99% of you are screaming, no, 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 we can't do this, we can't do this. There is that 1% of, why don't we just try and see how it goes? And the more you focus on listening to that 1% of you that just wants to challenge the anxiety, the stronger it will be, to a point where it might be a 50-50 or a 60-40, where there's a voice that doesn't want to do it, but there is a voice that's like, well, it worked last time we tried it, let's just do it. And I found that resources online like Charisma on Command is fantastic. They do videos about like the top 5 things to do in social circumstances, appropriate times to make eye contact, ways to establish connection and rapport with anyone, all this kind of stuff. So I'll put that link in the description if anybody wants to sort of develop specific social traits of theirs that they feel that they might need to improve to overcome their social anxiety. And lastly, I'll just touch over, when I was in Kenya, I stayed with a woman for 3 months, and she noted that I seemed really nervous on a particular day where I had to do a presentation at a networking event where there was going to be about 50 or so people, and I'd nominated myself to be this sort of main speaker introducing the company that I was with. I was so nervous. I didn't want to go in. I was thinking about what I could come up with to justify someone else doing it. Maybe I was ill, maybe my throat hurt, I lost my voice, sorry. But she was the main singer in her church choir, and she told me that nerves are normal, and even though she's been doing singing in front of large groups of people for years, she still gets nerves at the beginning, but once you go out there and you start, the nerves start to go away. And all you need to do is go out there and look forward and be courageous. And I think those are absolutely the words to live by, specifically in social circumstances where you feel like you can't do it. You just need to believe that you can, and start by taking a step, looking forwards, and being courageous. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Feel free to comment in the section anything that you found interesting, anything you'd like to hear me talking about in future. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.